It was a warm summer evening when I found myself nervously fidgeting in my seat at a fancy restaurant. I was about to meet my fiance's family for the first time, and I couldn't help but feel a mixture of excitement and anxiety. My fiancé, Alex, had assured me that his family was welcoming and kind, but I couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. As I looked around the restaurant, I couldn't help but notice the opulence that surrounded me. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and the tables were adorned with fine china and silverware. It was a stark contrast to my humble upbringing in a struggling, working-class family. I couldn't help but feel out of place. Finally, Alex's family arrived. They were dressed in elegant attire, and their demeanor exuded confidence and sophistication. His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Anderson, greeted me with polite smiles, and his younger sister, Emily, seemed friendly enough. But it was Alex's older brother, Michael, who caught my attention. Michael was a manager at this very restaurant, a fact I was unaware of until that moment. His eyes seemed to narrow as he looked at me, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of judgment in his gaze. As we all sat down, I tried my best to engage in polite conversation, but I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was being evaluated. As the evening progressed, my anxiety only intensified. The Andersons and I exchanged stories and pleasantries, but it was clear that we came from different worlds. I tried to be my best self, sharing anecdotes about my family and childhood, but I could see Michael's disapproval growing with each passing minute. When it came time to order, I carefully selected a moderately priced dish, not wanting to impose on Alex's family. However, when the waiter came to take our orders, Michael suddenly intervened. He insisted on ordering a selection of the most expensive dishes on the menu, as if trying to make a point. As the evening wore on, I could sense the tension in the air. Michael's disdain for me became increasingly evident, and I could see him whispering to his parents, occasionally casting disparaging glances in my direction. It was as if he had already made up his mind about me based on my humble background. Finally, when the desserts arrived, Michael leaned in and said something to his parents, his voice just loud enough for me to hear. "She doesn't belong here," he remarked, his tone dripping with condescension. My heart sank as I realized what was happening. It was an outright rejection. The tears flowed freely as I made my way out of the restaurant. I didn't want to create any more of a scene in front of Alex's family, but the pain I felt was unbearable. It was a long, lonely walk home, and with each step, I questioned whether my love for Alex was worth enduring such judgment and rejection. As I entered my small apartment, I collapsed onto the couch, still in shock from the events of the evening. My mind raced with a whirlwind of emotions: anger, hurt, and a profound sense of injustice. I had always known that Alex's family came from a different background, but I had hoped that love would bridge the gap. I couldn't help but replay Michael's words in my head: "She doesn't belong here." Those words echoed like a haunting refrain, a stark reminder of the barriers that stood between me and the life I had hoped to share with Alex. In the days that followed, I withdrew from Alex, unable to face the painful reality of his family's rejection. I began to question whether our love was strong enough to withstand the judgment and prejudice that seemed to be lurking just beneath the surface. Little did I know that there was more to this story than met the eye. The days following that ill-fated dinner were filled with inner turmoil. I couldn't shake off the feeling of rejection, and I wondered if Alex's family's perception of me would forever be tainted by that one evening. But little did I know that a revelation was in store. About a week after the restaurant incident, Alex came to me with a sullen expression. He took a deep breath and confessed that his brother, Michael, was the manager of that very restaurant. I was stunned. I couldn't believe that Michael had been in a position of power over me during that humiliating evening. Alex explained that Michael had never approved of our relationship, and he had used his position to orchestrate the embarrassing rejection at the restaurant. It was a shocking revelation, and I felt a mix of anger and sadness. How could someone be so vindictive, especially when it came to his own brother's happiness? Alex assured me that he had confronted Michael about his actions and that he was deeply sorry for what had happened. He explained that he had been torn between his love for me and his loyalty to his family, but he had finally chosen to stand by my side. As I listened to Alex's words, I realized that our love had triumphed over prejudice and betrayal. It was a testament to the strength of our bond. With newfound determination, we decided to confront his family and put an end to the toxicity that had plagued our relationship. This revelation marked a turning point in our journey, one where we would face challenges together, united against those who sought to tear us apart. It was a reminder that love could conquer even the deepest divides, and we were determined to prove it. Alex and I spent hours discussing how to address the situation with his family. We knew that it wouldn't be easy, but we were determined to confront the prejudice and division that had threatened to tear us apart. We decided that it was time to have an open and honest conversation with his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Anderson, about what had transpired at the restaurant. We invited them to our home, hoping that a more relaxed and familiar setting would encourage a candid dialogue. When they arrived, the tension was palpable, but we were resolute in our determination to make things right. As we all sat down, Alex began to speak, his voice steady but filled with emotion. He recounted the events of that evening at the restaurant, how I had been unfairly judged and rejected by Michael, his own brother. He emphasized that our love was genuine and deep, and he couldn't stand by and let prejudice divide our family. Mr. and Mrs. Anderson listened in silence, their expressions shifting from surprise to realization as they absorbed the gravity of the situation. Emily, Alex's younger sister, looked troubled by what she was hearing, clearly unaware of her brother's actions. Finally, Alex turned to his parents and asked a poignant question. Is our love not enough? Shouldn't the happiness of your own child be the most important thing? His words hung in the air, a plea for understanding and acceptance. After a long, tense pause, Mr. Anderson broke the silence. He admitted that he had been unaware of the extent of Michael's actions and that he had always wanted his children to be happy. Mrs. Anderson nodded in agreement, tears welling up in her eyes. It was clear that they were torn between their love for their sons and their desire to see them both happy. In that moment, I realized that love and understanding could indeed bridge even the deepest divides. Mr. and Mrs. Anderson apologized for what had happened at the restaurant, and they promised to address the issue with Michael. They expressed their support for Alex and me, acknowledging that our love was genuine and worthy of their acceptance. It was a turning point in our relationship, one that brought us closer to Alex's family and allowed us to heal from the wounds of prejudice. Michael's actions had caused pain and heartache, but they had also sparked a transformation in our understanding of love and acceptance. As we left that evening, hand in hand, I couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of hope for our future together. Our love had endured the ultimate test, and we had emerged stronger, more united than ever before. We knew that challenges lay ahead, but we were ready to face them together, armed with the unwavering belief that love could conquer all. In the aftermath of that emotional conversation with Alex's parents, our relationship began to heal and grow stronger. The revelation of Michael's actions had brought about a transformation in our understanding of love, family, and acceptance. It was a pivotal moment that had not only solidified our bond, but also fostered a sense of unity with Alex's family. Alex and I continued to nurture our love, knowing that we had overcome a significant hurdle. We were more determined than ever to build a life together, one that would be defined by love and mutual respect. As time went on, we saw changes within Alex's family as well. Mr. and Mrs. Anderson, once torn between their sons, became increasingly supportive of our relationship. They recognized that love knows no boundaries and that happiness was what truly mattered. The relationship between Alex and Michael, however, remained strained. Michael had to come to terms with the consequences of his actions, and while he never fully apologized, there was a palpable shift in his attitude. He began to distance himself from our relationship, choosing not to interfere further. As the months passed, we decided to plan our wedding. It was a joyful occasion that brought both of our families together in a celebration of love and unity. Mr. and Mrs. Anderson's initial reservations had given way to genuine enthusiasm for our marriage. They were proud to welcome me into their family, recognizing that love had prevailed over prejudice. Emily, Alex's younger sister, played a pivotal role in bridging the gap between us and Michael. She had been unaware of the extent of her brother's actions and felt betrayed by his behavior. Over time, Emily made it clear to Michael that she would not tolerate any more interference in our relationship. Her support helped create a more harmonious dynamic within the family. Our wedding day was a testament to the power of love to overcome adversity. It was a day of joy, laughter, and tears of happiness. Alex and I stood before our families and friends, ready to embark on a new chapter of our lives together. As we exchanged our vows, we knew that our love was unbreakable, a force that had withstood the challenges of prejudice and judgment. In the years that followed, we faced the ups and downs of life as a team, growing closer with each passing day. The scars of that fateful evening at the restaurant had healed, leaving us with a deeper appreciation for the love and acceptance that we had found in each other. As the years rolled on, our love story took an unexpected turn, one that would test our resilience and the bonds we had built over the decades. After 30 years of marriage, Alex and I found ourselves facing a painful and heartbreaking reality. Alex, the man I had shared a lifetime with, made a decision that shattered our family. He chose to leave our marriage for another woman, a decision that left me devastated and bewildered. Our children, who had grown up in the warmth of our love and unity, were left grappling with the upheaval of their world. It was a difficult period, marked by heartache, tears, and countless sleepless nights. I struggled to come to terms with the end of a relationship that had defined most of my adult life. The pain was overwhelming, and I found myself navigating the unfamiliar terrain of single parenthood. Despite the turmoil, I drew strength from the love and support of our children, who had always been a source of joy and pride. They helped me find my footing in this new chapter of life, reminding me that there was still hope and happiness to be found. Our extended families, who had once come together to celebrate our love, now rallied around me in my time of need. They offered comfort and solace, helping me cope with the immense loss I was experiencing. As the years passed, I learned that life could take unexpected turns, and love could evolve in ways we never anticipated. While the pain of our separation was deep and lasting, it also opened up new opportunities for growth and self-discovery. While my journey had taken a different path than I had ever imagined, I continued to cherish the lessons I had learned from our love story, the power of resilience, the importance of family, and the belief that love, in its many forms, could sustain us through life's most challenging trials.